Hi everyone, Kenny aka the Basic Brit back again for session 3 of the Western Lands campaign and my group's progress. Exploring the areas around Morgan's Fort and the dungeon beneath the old island fortress. On the last session, the group had doubled in size. They'd returned to Morgan's Fort with Sir Brennan, made sure that a young boy Tommen was rehome with the smithy, rested and prepared themselves for the next foray of adventure, which was to explore the rumoured dungeons beneath the old island fortress. So to get straight into it, the party sets out from the gates southwards early in the morning. They go down the track and back out onto the trade road in which they'd first entered Morgan's Fort. They travel south and then bear off southeast as they see the silhouette of the tower at the mouth of the river. It takes about 4 hours for the group to reach the crumbled remains of the defensive bastion, as it looms over the mouth of the river, spilling into the calm bay beyond. Poking around the home bank, the party encounters a human man dressed in robes, eyeing the fortress inquisitively. They approach cautiously, and the man spots them and introduces himself as Malik, a scholar of sorts with a strange exotic accent. After a quick conversation, the party finds out he intends to enter the place as he is in search of arcane knowledge, and they agree to have him join their ranks. Now, this is another one of my players that joined, which swells the group to 7 players. A slight DM note from me here, this is 7 players playing on Roll20 and on Discord. I have found that this is probably the limit for what I can handle myself. We don't use webcams, we only use voice, so I would not go any higher than this for myself anyway. The group is having fun with it. We do sometimes talk over each other. But enough of my rambling, I'll get back to the recap. Now, with the party bolstered with a magic user, they see an old fording point. Wagon tracks and animal tracks seem to go from the home bank, and they see muddy trails leading up to a tower on its island. It's about waist deep here and the water is freezing cold. The halflings ride on the humans' backs. The dwarves, unfortunately, are up to their chest in water. It doesn't take them long to wade through the slow, meandering mouth of the river. As they approach the old ruins, they see evidence of footfall around. No one can quite work out what made these tracks. There's a mixture of animal paw prints, hoof prints, and a mixture of bipedal and quadrupedal creatures have been in and around here in the last few days. Wanting to make the most of the day, they start to search the ruins. What used to be a 3-level tower has crumbled into a ground floor mess of rotted wood and smashed up brick and stone. The mortar long since reduced to dust. It makes searching the ruins difficult for a while. Jarek, the human fighter, spots something suspicious as he moves an old rotten beam out of the way. He assumes what used to be a rug or carpet has completely rotten away and turned into mush, is hiding a metal ringed handle. He pulls it up, which reveals a staircase descending into the depths that seems to wind down for somewhere. He gestures the party over. Malik lights his lantern and Bluebell strikes a torch. Only one way to go now then. As they creep down the staircase, with Mirren and Olanla the dwarf utilising their dark vision to pathfind for the party. The stairway descends 20 feet, turns another 20 feet down, a third and final turn, leading into a dark, octagonal room, what they assume to be some 40-50 feet below the surface of the river. Within the room, that seems of human construction to the dwarves in the party, there's passages leading off in every direction: north, east, south, and the direction that they entered, west. Olod hears noises coming from the south. "What is that?" he asks. "Growling?" Party deliberates on direction of advance, but are confronted when whatever was making that noise decides to interrupt the party's loud discussion. Wolves come bounding out of the darkness to the south, literally jumping over a spot in the floor. More on that later. The group steels themselves for combat, but instead Olod steps forward and projects his druidic force of will, attempting to subdue the canine predators. He is successful, and asks them to return to their den where no harm will come if they stay away from the party. The wolves, for now, see Olod as a friendly force, and they decide it's best off to not pick this fight with the party and take his advice. I have them return to their den to the south, and the party, not wanting to force the issue, decide to head north and inspect a doorway at the end of the corridor. Mirren and Trotek the Barbarian listen for a while, but hear nothing on the other side. Mirren checks if the door is locked, and it isn't, and gestures for Trotek to take point. The Barbarian grabs the door handle and opens the door into the room. This dark room is completely unfurnished, but for a large rotten wooden table in the centre, a couple of chairs scattered about, broken. There's a door to the north and doors to the east and west as well. He looks left, he looks right, and can't see any sign of ambush. He takes a step inside. As his weight transfers, the floor suddenly seems to collapse underneath him. A pit trap. I have him roll a save versus Defra, and due to his dwarven abilities, he makes a save. He uses his agility to stop himself from falling, and he grabs onto the lip, hauls himself out in the nick of time. As the party inspects the pit trap, they see a body down there, almost fully decomposed. A strange, small creature with a dog-like skull but bipedal in nature. The group deliberates on what this creature could be. A little bit of metagaming goes on, but no one in character reveals what they think it might be. On the body, they see what looks like a still in good condition scroll case, so Trotek descends attached to a length of rope. He retrieves the case and a small handful of coins, looks at the body, decides it's far too decomposed to work out the cause of death. After climbing back out, Bluebell inspects the scroll and they discover that it's a scroll of protection from undead. Maybe that'll come in handy later. After settling their nerves and reviewing the room, they take stock of the situation. They have three options as they see it. Head right, to the east, left has an identical door, or the small corridor with a door at the end to the north. They inspect the door to the east and see clawed footprints leading from inside and outside of the door, a heavily trafficked route they discern. For now, they decide to leave that way. They spike the door shut with some iron spikes, a suggestion from Malik, better to try and cover their back. Through the northern door, they hear nothing and decide to leave that for now and head west. This time though, on opening the door, they use the 10-foot pole they've been carrying but not utilising. A good party learns from their mistakes. Torches burn down and the lantern keeps the party lit as they slowly make their way through a large hall beyond the western door. The hall has large pillars that hold up the roof, And in the centre there is a large armoured statue dominating the room, a chest at its feet, and the statue holds a great stone sword. Trotek's previous mishap has his senses heightened, and he beckons Mirren to check for traps. Mirren's player rolls, and he's pretty confident that there's no traps here. He says, just to be safe though, stand back. Trotek, why don't you check if it's open with your battle axe? Trotek takes his advice and holds his battle axe at a full arm's length. It's true, the chest is not locked, and he flicks it open. It's a good job they were cautious, as with a whoosh of air, the stone sword descends and spins in a full 180-degree arc. The rest of the party are stood back and are well out of reach. Because Trotek used his wits and opened it from a distance, I decided to not even make him roll for this, and the trap missed him. The stone statue resets itself in position and the chest lid remains open. They look inside and they see a small hoard of gold and silver coins. Now, I won't go into exactly how much treasure they pull out of it. Anyone can download the Morgan's Fort Adventure from Basic Fantasy. What I will say is I have heavily modified a lot of the treasure hoards in the game just to suit our style of play. It's not a massive amount of treasure in this first chest that they find, but enough to get the party licking their lips about the prospects of what could be down here. And with that, the party retrieves the treasure and presses on south. The group are really on edge now for traps and secret doors. They enter another corridor and they're convinced that they can hear things in the walls. The dwarves decide to search for secret doors using their stonework ability. None of them are successful, but the elf Mirren, with his keen elven eyes, discovers one. They find the locking latch, turn it, and push the stone door inwards, revealing 4 small green-skinned creatures arguing over whose dagger is the best. The goblins turn, malicious looks in their eyes, and point their daggers at the party. The fight is on, and the party reacts first. Melee is back and forth, with a couple of wounds being taken by the party, but they start to get the upper hand. Jarek and Trotek cutting down the creatures, leaving only one to surrender. Now, goblins in my world are in constant contest with the dwarves for the mountain halls underneath the earth. Individually, they're weak-willed, but in a group can be very nasty. The party dealt with this group pretty easily, and they decided to keep one of them alive. This is the first bit of heresy against my love of the OSR. I stole a character from Keep on the Shadowfell, the introductory adventure for D&D 4th edition. Splug. Now, Splug, I didn't think he'd be sticking around with the party for so long, but he has become a mainstay NPC for the group, and we will get more into that as these recaps go on. Splug grovels to the party, begs for his life, and Bluebell the halfling cleric and Olan the dwarven druid take a shine to him and bring him along for as long as he is useful. He imparts knowledge about this level of the dungeon, mentioning that there's dangers to the east much worse than goblins. A group of orcs have moved into the south, bullying some of the goblins if they ever come across them. He says that deeper within the second layer of the dungeon there are creatures that will make your skin crawl. His leaders, a group of hobgoblins, were tasked to lead them there. He also says that his boss, Fatbelly, is somewhere else in here, but he does not know where. The goblins were sent here to set up an outpost to potentially raid the caravan routes, but they've had trouble securing the dungeons as they're in contest with a group of kobolds that live somewhere within the dungeon, although they cannot find them as they live behind secret doors. We will leave it there for now. That was the first half of session 3 of my party's foray into the dungeon beneath the old island fortress. Tune in next time for the second half of that adventure, where they try and retrieve some of the loot with the now friend Goblin Splug in tow. And with that, guys, I'll leave it there. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a video. But with that being said, I will see you in the next one.